Hi, today in this video we are going to discuss about functions. What is this functions? Why we use this function? What is the requirement of this function? So all these things we'll see. What is this syntax of function? How many types of function? Uh, the function definitions we can have, like we can have return type and all things we will discuss in this video, and we'll see some programs also based on functions. Okay, in the last videos we have seen basics of C programming, like we have seen data types, operators, and then control structures in C. We have seen arrays also. Now we'll see function. So what is this function in C? So function is a basic building blocks of a program. We can say this, okay? So function is a basic building block of a program. We We can say that it is a set of statements enclosed within curly braces, means we write inside this, the main body of this block or statement we write inside this curly braces. It can take input, do up computations and give output. It can be called multiple times, means as many times as required we can call it that much time. It is an example of reusability and modularity. Means we are calling again and again the same function, that is reusability, and modularity means we are dividing the large program in different modules so that we can call these programs or these functions whenever required. So that is why it is called modularity or module. So now what is this need of function in C programming? So the same thing, it enables reusability and reduces redundancy. Redundancy means when we do not write again and again the same code or the same things we have to write. If we do not use function, we will write every time the same code. If we want to execute this process or the steps same again and again, then we'll write it again. So it is better to make a function for that and call that function. So we do not write the same thing again and again. That's why we are reducing the redundancy. It makes code modular. Modular again, and the same thing means we are dividing the large program into small codes. This is, suppose this is function 1, this is function 2. So we are dividing it in modules. So we do not need to write the large program at a time. We divide it in small functions and we call these functions whenever required. So now we come to the syntax of function. So this is very important. See, we have to write this return type, then we write function name, and in this small bracket we write argument list with data type, and these argument lists are separated by commas, like int a comma int b comma int c. All the arguments are separated by comma. Suppose we have two parameters, we'll write like this a and b are parameters and this is their data type. I'm writing here int, it can be other data type also. So this is for just an example that we write the list with the parameter and data types. So this is the function definition, the syntax of function definition. And then we have curly brace, open curly brace and closing curly brace, and inside this we write the code. We write the code which we want to perform. Now see, what is this return type? Return type means we write the data type of the value returned by the functions. It is optional, means it can be void also. Optional means it can be void also. After that, function name. Function name is the name of function we want to give to the function. So it is user defined function. So we can give the name we wish to give. Okay. So this the function we are talking about a user defined function. Okay. This we are talking about user defined functions. We have earlier seen many functions. Those are predefined functions. Those are predefined functions. It is user defined functions we are talking about. User defined functions are we define for our purpose. So this function name is given by us or a programmer. Okay, so function name is the name of function, and then argument list, it is the argument or parameter list that contain all the parameters to be passed into the function. It defines the data type. It defines the data type, sequence, and the number of parameters to be passed to the function. Argument list is optional, means it may or may not be there. Means it can be void also. Like suppose you have function and if you do not have any parameter, it can be void. The return type is also void. It can be like this also. Here in the curly brace, you have the function body is written here, and this is the return type, no return type. So there is no data type given, it is written void. And here we can simply leave it blank or we can write void also. That is same. But here we have to write void if you do not have any return type. Okay, so this is, I am talking when we do not have return type, then we write void. And when we do not have any argument, we can write void or we can leave it vacant. Now, important points of functions. So first we have to, first we have function declaration. Then we have function call, and then after that we have function definition. What is this function declaration? Declaration means we inform the compiler about the name of function, number of parameters, and data types of parameters, and return type of function. Parameter name is optional in function declaration. Means the parameter name you do not need to give. Like suppose you have function, you can just write data type, return type. This is return type, function name, and then parameters, data type. You can write like this also. Suppose you have one argument and of integer type, you can write like this also, but you can leave this parameter name also. So this is optional. Okay. Now comes to function call. So what is this function call? It is calling function to execute. We need to pass arguments in order in which they are defined with the same number of arguments. Means we have to pass the arguments, like suppose we are writing function fn, and then in the parenthesis we are passing one argument a and then semicolon. This is function call. This is function call. Here we do not need to write the return type. Here we do not need to write the return type. It is actual function call. Their data type should also match with their function definition. Data type means is this data type should be matched with the function definition. Suppose the function definition says it is int, its data type is int. Suppose here it is return type is int, and inside this function we have function definition. So in the definition, data type is integer. So this data type should also match here in the calling program or calling function. So suppose in the calling, here it is a, so we can now write this function a. And suppose we are writing here, it is not int, we are writing float, and we are calling function a, means we are passing float argument, and but the in function definition we have written this function takes argument of integer type. So this is not matching. So it will give you error. Now function definition. Here the actual statements that the compiler will execute when function is called. Means the code is defined in this, that what their function has to do. That is written in the function definition. Like suppose, for example, we have two variables x and y or anything a or b, and we want to find which one is minimum among them using function. So for that we are writing suppose one function min num. So in this we are writing, this is the code. We are writing, first we declare, this is, first we are declaring that this is return type is int and the function name is min num, and we are taking two arguments, int x, int y, and then semicolon. Then semicolon. Here see this int, we can this int means the data type of the first argument is int, and the data type of second argument is also int, means integer. And this name of the argument x and y we are writing, we can leave it. We can leave it. Now, next thing is, this is function declaration. We are informing the compiler. Function declaration. Now, function definition. This is function definition. We are actually code will be written how to find the minimum of these two variables. So int, here again we are writing the return type, function name, and in the parenthesis the arguments, and in the we have curly brace. In function definition we write the code in curly brace. So for finding the minimum among them, we have to write the code for that. So this is function definition. Leave it. This is function. So what we have to do, if x less than y, return x, else return y. So it will return, if x is less than y, then that is means x is minimum. So it will return x, otherwise it will return y. And we are assuming that both are different numbers. They are not equal. We are assuming here, okay. Now, this is function definition. Now in main program, suppose this is we are writing main, and here we have taken two variables a and b, and another variable or defined p as integer. So we are writing p is equal to min num. We are calling this function min num, and we are passing these two arguments a and b to find the minimum number among a and b. And we are this value it will return, we are storing in p. So now smaller number is %d and p. So suppose we don't know this P has what value, which one is smaller, we don't know. So we are just checking it with the help of this function, and the value it is returning we are storing in P. Okay, and with the help of this we are finding the value of P, and then we are coming out of this program. So here this is called function call. This is called function call. This is function definition. This is function declaration. So all these three we have discussed just now. Now we can see the program for this. So let's see someone program for this. Now see, I have written one function, my fun, and here we are defining it. Okay, we are defining it. So this is called function. This is function definition. Okay, and we are making user defined function. So we are writing this return type. This is return type. This is the function name, and in parentheses no arguments is there. So it means it is a no argument, or we can say void. And inside this function we have written the body of the function inside this curly brace. This is the curly brace it has. Okay, now see, in this we have this statement printf user defined function executed, and this is the body of the function close. So this is function definition. So we have written this function definition before the main. This is main function. This is the main function. Okay, and this is function another function which we are defining here, which whose name is my fun. So this is function definition. So we can do the function definition before main or after main. We can write this thing here also. But if we write here, we have to declare this function here. So for that we will write void my fun here, and then we write semicolon. Then this is called function declaration. Function declaration. Okay, so function definition, what it does, it just simply informs the compiler that this is the function whose name is myfun, and its return type is void, and it is not taking any argument. Okay, so this is function declaration, then this is function definition, and in the main we are calling this function myfun, parenthesis, and then semicolon. This is called function calling. So see here, see here what we have to do now. We function declaration is here. If you do not write, you then also it will not give you any error. Okay, but if you write this function definition below main function, you may get the compiler error that function is not declared, and you are using it in the here you are using or calling this function, and the function is not declared. So it is better to declare. And here also if you declare, then also you will not get any error. So it is better to declare this function before this function definition. And this function definition thing is you can write before main or after main. So no problem. Now see, what is this function saying? That we have only one statement inside this function, user defined function executed. And in main we are calling this function myfun, and then simply return 0. Means we are just want to check how it is performing. So let's see. Let's run this program. and see the output of this program. So this build compile current file. Okay, now see, when we run this program, so it is saying user defined function executed. It means this user defined function executed is defined in this myfun, and when we are calling this function, this is printing this statement. Now suppose we call this myfun 2 times, then what happens? Suppose I write this function again, then what happened? See, now run it. So see, user defined function executed, user defined function executed. So this is printed 2 times. So similarly, you can do this, or better write /n here so that it will print the output in the next line. The user defined function executed, user defined function executed, they are printing on separate line. We are calling 2 times. So this statement is executed 2 times. Suppose if we execute 3 times, write the same code here, or we call this function 3 times, this will be executed 3 times. So if this is a one statement, we can write multiple statements inside this code, inside this function, and we can just call this function whenever required. So all the body will be executed that time. So we do not need to write this code every time, and just calling this function will execute the code written in this function. So now we'll see some more problems or programs based on this function. Just see. Now suppose we want to pass some parameters to our function. So let's say it is int a, and then we are have some other variable int x equal to 10. Suppose I'm assigning is this value, and we are passing this x, and here comma y equal to 20, and then we are calling this for x and y, and this, see what happens. Then f value of simply write interpret codes value equal to %d. This is the value of a. Yeah. Compile. So this has been compiled successfully. Now run it. So user defined function executed, value is 10. User defined function executed, value is 20. So we are calling this function 2 times for x equal to 10 and for x is equal to y. Here also we should write /n. Now the user defined function executed, value is 10. When we are calling this myfun for x, and then we are calling myfun for y, then the user defined function is executed and value is 20. So these 2 lines are executed for this fun y, myfun y, and when we are calling myfun x, the first 2 lines are printed. Now see, we can see some example for value in which we are returning some values also. So see, suppose we want to add two numbers, and we have to do this thing using function. So we want to add two numbers. These two numbers should be passed as argument to the function, and it should return the result using return type. Then what we need to modify here, int a comma int b, and then here we want to find some value that should be integer type. So we are writing int value equal to %d, and here we can write a plus b. Here we can write sum, and now suppose I'm removing this line. Here we are writing x plus y. Control S, and now build current file function. Sorry, x plus y is not, it should be x comma y. Okay, so that's why it was giving error. Now it is okay. Now see, we run the program. It is giving sum equal to 30. So here we are just assigning the value of x and y. We can take these values from the user also by asking from the user using scanf. Now printf, enter two numbers, scanf %d, %d, comma ampersand a, comma ampersand b. Sorry, not a and b, here it is x and y. So a and b we are declaring in the function that is local to that. So we cannot write here a and b. We can write the variable name which we are declaring in the main. In the main we are writing x and y, so we will write x and y, and we can pass x and y. Now save it and compile it. Now run it. Enter two numbers. Suppose the two numbers are 5 and 6. The user defined function executed, and sum is equal to 11. So we are getting this result, sum equal to 11. Now see here, this function is called, in which we are passing two arguments. So see what happens. I want to make you understand something. When we are calling this function, we are giving these arguments x and y, and when we are defining, this is a and b. So it is not necessary to write the same name for the variables which are called here in the calling function. This is calling program. This main is the calling program where we are calling this function. This is function definition. So it is not necessary that the variable name should same, but their data type in their data type should match with the data type of these arguments. This arguments data type is integer. Y's data type is also integer. So they are matching. So then it is okay. But suppose we are passing different argument, then there could be some problem, or you may get some error. Okay. So it is your responsibility to check the data types, what you are writing and what you are taking the name. Okay. Now, and then you have to see the sequence also. Suppose here this integer a and here it is float b, then also you have to pass the same sequence, like first one should be integer, second one should be float, there in that way order. Okay, now we'll see some more programs or examples based on functions. So let's see. So we can pass some values we have seen. So we can pass arrays also. It can be your character array also. So what is this character array? We have not discussed it yet. So first discuss about this. Like character array, suppose I write 20. So 20 characters we can store in this name character array ARR. Okay. So what is this? It can store set of letters or set of characters, like suppose some name or some word HELLO. But one thing is that in case of character array, in case of this word, when we store, then we have one null character which is automatically gets stored, or we store null character at the end of the string or word to indicate that this characters or this word has been finished. So this is called character array. So character array is simply the strings, and strings is words. In English we say words, and in computer or in this programming language we use the term strings for words. So we want to store suppose words or name, so we need this character array only. And the name of our array can be anything like first name, suppose 10 characters or 15 characters, character last name to store last name. In this way we can make different character arrays to store strings or words. So we can now pass character arrays also inside the function. Like suppose we have this function my fun, we can pass char. Suppose the name of our array is name, which stores the name. So inside this we write printf hello %s. So for string we have this specifier, format specifier, and here you are writing the name of the array which we are passing. So whatever is passed here, it will print that name here. Hello %s. Suppose we are passing some name like Hera, so it will print hello Hera, or any other name. Suppose we are passing, where we will pass in when we call this program. So suppose this we are writing the main program in which we call this function. Suppose this is function call in which we are calling this my fun, and we are writing, when we pass a string we write under double quotes like Mohan semicolon. So if what it will print, it will print hello Mohan. When we execute this, it will call this function, this Mohan will be passed in this string, this array, and this will be printed hello % for name. So hello Mohan. If we call any other name, that name will be printed. Okay. So we can call this function any number of times. Suppose we call this for Sohan, this will print hello Sohan, and so on. Okay, so we can pass this character array also in the parameters as an argument. We can have different arguments also, like my fun. One argument is character array. Suppose one argument is character array. C character name, and another argument is some variable. Suppose the name of the variable is age, and we are printing or we are writing some code inside this function like printf. So this is another program we are writing hello %s for the name and your age %d, and then %s is for name and %d for age, and then we are closing the semicolon. Now what happened here? We have two arguments. So when we call this function, we have to pass two arguments. So in main, suppose this is your main program, we have to call this function, and in the parameter we need to pass two arguments, like first is name, so we have to, this is a string, so we have to write in double quotes Sohan, comma 80, suppose. So it will, what it will print? It will print hello Sohan, your age is 80, your age 80. Anything we can write 10, your age is 10, and then we write return 0, and then we come out of our main program. So now we'll see we can pass arrays, normal arrays. We have seen how to pass this character array. Suppose we want to pass the array of numbers as function parameter, then how we can pass this? See, void, we have another function. Suppose our function name is myFun, and we are passing integer array num array. Okay, and the array size is 5, and we are writing the code inside this for int. I suppose we want to just print the values in this array or the elements of this array. So I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and then we have this code printf %d /m and your num I. So whatever we have seen in the arrays, how to print the elements of the array, so we can pass this array in the function, pass this array as an argument in the function, and we can print the elements of this array in the function only. And now in the main program, suppose this is your main program, what you have to do? You have to write this, and you just define this array num. Suppose this is 5 numbers are 1, 5, 9, 7, this, and one more number is, suppose you have 4. Then we write semicolon after closing this curly brace, and after that we are calling this function myFun, and we are passing this array num. So we just write the name of the array, name of the array. Name of the array means we are passing array. Okay. One thing more I want to tell you, when we pass the array, we are actually passing the address of the first element of your array, and then with the help of it, it can access the all the elements of this array. So when you run this program, you will see that it will give you the what we are doing. Actually, we are when we are passing this num, so this is copied here, and we are accessing the all the elements of this array which has been passed inside this function, and we are using this for loop. We are accessing all the elements of this and we are printing it. Okay. So now we see, here we have seen that all these functions are not returning anything. We have written return type is void. So we have seen one function also, summation of two numbers, where that is returning some value also, which was integer type. So we have seen that when we have some other data type, return type, how it can return some value. So that's all for today. We'll see more about functions in the next video. Thank you. Thanks for watching.